to get out and greet some of those people at the...
Gorbachev quickly made his way through the line of dignitaries and then unexpectedly walked around the motorcade limousines and greeted another group of people, those who work at the base and friends and relatives of the dignitaries. Gorbachev spent several minutes shaking hands with the crowd. He didn't make any public remarks. Instead, security personnel ushered the president to a Soviet limousine, and then he left the airport 20 minutes after arriving.
From the air base, his motorcade headed north toward downtown Minneapolis, then east on I-94. Spectators lining the route, hoping to see the president of the Soviet Union. He headed for the governor's mansion on Summit Avenue in St. Paul. Pat Kessler was in the crowd when Mr. Gorbachev arrived.
We witnessed something extraordinary here today. Maybe it's because we walk these streets all the time and see all of these old houses, but when Gorbachev stopped his motorcade and stepped into the crowd, a charge went through all of the people that were lined up here for hours waiting to see him. And somehow these streets around here changed just a little bit. For just a little while this afternoon, there were no party labels and no borders. And even the protesters who came out today were satisfied they got their message across. All in all, for all the old folks on this old street in St. Paul, an afternoon we won't soon forget.
Mr. Gorbachev and his wife then drove past the cathedral where he had been scheduled to stop and arrived to the biggest crowd of the day at the state capitol.
I think many of those cars that were...
But he didn't stop. He merely waved from an open window.
There he is. He's right in front of us.
We see
He's
him
passing
now.
Our location now. Did you ever think that you'd be able to see this?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Fantastic.
Typical reaction from the crowd here as President Gorbachev made his way through the Capitol area.
Then it was back onto the freeway, back to downtown Minneapolis, back past the people who may have missed him the first time, and past a week of work. The neatly mowed embankments and flowers and signs welcoming Mr. Gorbachev, all the way to his meeting with business leaders at the Radisson. Mike Walsher reports on the Radisson meeting.
Soviet Union over a long period of time.
After the business meeting, President Gorbachev met with Minnesotan Paul Shirky, who, along with Will Steger, made the Bering Expedition, a crossing from Alaska to the Soviet Union a couple of years ago. Then he was serenaded by 34 5th and 5 and 6-year-olds from Meadowbrook Elementary School in Hopkins. They sang him a song in Russian. After that, he departed for control data. I'm Mike Walsher, WCCO Television News, at the Radisson Hotel in downtown Minneapolis.
The Gorbachevs then were scheduled to visit a farm in Farmington, but the trip was canceled due to a lack of time. Bill Hudson talked to the disappointed Brand family at their farm.
I would say that, let's face it, this is Russia's main problem, is food production. It's the food shelves that is the real serious problem in Russia, and this is where I think where I'm disappointed that we couldn't show him a typical American average farm.
Instead, the Gorbachevs headed for control data in Bloomington to check out a new computer. The USSR is buying 6 of the Cyber 960 models for $32 million, pending U.S. government approval. It will be the biggest technological cooperative venture since World War II between our two countries.
I will say simply this. I already, in fact, have just discussed this with representatives of the business community here. We do welcome and applaud this new step in our economic cooperation and in a number of areas.
And then from control data, drove on to the airport, and that is...
All's well that ends well.
For sure.
While Mikhail Gorbachev attended the meetings at the Radisson, his wife Raisa was heading off to the Watson home in Minneapolis.
But here's the fun part. She made an unexpected stop on the way here at Pepito's. That's a Mexican deli at 46th and Nicollet. She ordered a cup of coffee and talked with some of the employees. Then she popped into this Snyder drugstore at 4626 Nicollet Avenue South. She toured the store looking at the nail polish and the perfumes. She asked the store employees how much things cost, and she even asked them what their salaries are. And get this, before leaving, Raisa purchased Nintendo gum. Believe that. That's the fun of it, is her spontaneity, and that's what made it so exciting today. Now, after that quick detour, she finally ended up at the Watson home.
And that was probably the most emotional stop of all. Wendy Lubavitch has been covering the Watson family angle for us, and she's outside the home right now. Wendy?
I certainly am. The South Minneapolis neighborhood is relatively quiet now. A lot of the children are tucked away in the beds, and a lot of the parents are getting ready for another work week. But I'll tell you, a few hours ago, this neighborhood was anything but quiet. It was a sea of red all along Garfield Avenue as Raisa Gorbachev got her first true glimpse of Minnesota life. Like her husband, she couldn't resist the calls of the crowd. She greeted children and grown-ups alike. But the Watson family members are the ones she really came to get to know. They gathered in the family dining room to talk about groceries, mortgages, and families. Lisa gave Mrs. Gorbachev a copy of the book Rembrandt Takes a Walk, a play she performed with the Children's Theater last year in the Soviet Union. And Raisa gave them a Russian china teapot. They met for only an hour, but yet they seemed to connect. And when it was time to say goodbye, it was like parting with long-lost friends. It will take some time for the Watson family to get back to life as usual, but the girls have a dance recital next week, and Mrs. Watson says they'll be concentrating on that. But they will always remember that Sunday, June 3rd, 1990, the day the world paid the Watson family a visit.
And it's going to take me a long time to figure it out, really, what happened in there. But something about the way she looks at you when she's talking to you, she's really interested, and she was very honest. It just was an open conversation, it seemed to me.
Steve, I know you said the same thing, that when she looked at you, that you really felt she was connecting, and she was really looking at you, not just sort of glossing over.
Yeah, I think she really did give us a sense of caring about who we were, and we really felt that about her, too, when the visit was over.
I bet the hour roared by and felt like seconds.
Well, I honestly didn't hear anybody describe what the time was, but we did wait for quite a while out in the cold, and then if it was an hour, it was a very pleasant hour. It was fun to see how she related to our children.
All right, well, you'll be watching videos of this for years to come, I'm sure. Thanks for spending time with us tonight. We hope your lives get back to normal. We're going to go back to Angela right now.
Cindy Hilger announced the departure.
A very busy day,
Not
only for the Gorbachevs, but for the many people who hope to get a glimpse of him. For example, when Jim and Kathy Sin decided to make the trip up from Rochester with their kids to see the Gorbachev visit, they were holding out hope for maybe a glimpse of the Soviet president. Well, through the lens of their home video camera, here's what they did see. Now, as it turns out, they do have something to tell their friends about back home.
No, they're not going to believe it. They knew we were coming. Everybody just kind of thought you'd get a glimpse driving by, maybe. It's the crowds, and to have this happen, nobody anticipated this. It was really unbelievable.
Take the pictures to school and let the boys show their classmates.
And hang on to that tape. Don't let
One of the official gifts that Mr. Gorbachev was supposed to get to take home with him included a Russian language version of Monopoly and a Frisbee and a polka album. They were going to include Boundary Waters beer and baseball caps that say, "I love Gorby."
Mr. Gorbachev is getting ready to leave.
Here he goes.
You notice when he waves with one hand. When Raisa waves, she waves with two hands. Let's listen. She proved me wrong.
So long, Mr. and Mrs. Gorbachev.
Goodbye from Minnesota. Good luck in California.
Another grueling schedule to keep up with.
I think it's just about to depart. The final engineer walked out from underneath the plane.
Boy, they'll have a lot to talk about tonight, won't they?
Well, so will the Gorbachevs. Only they have to fly to California. I don't know if they have anything official scheduled tonight. I would suspect the best thing might be about 8 or 9 hours of sleep before they do anything else. You're right, though. Governor Perpich and his wife will say, boy, what a great day this has been for the state of Minnesota.